Hey, it's Kids. Welcome back. Do you ever feel sworn to carry others' burdens? Do you like to stand in doorways and trap players inside rooms? Then you've probably wondered what I am wondering. Can you beat Skyrim as Lydia? If you've seen any of my other videos, you know the rules are simple. I can only use weapons and armor Lydia uses, and the only things I can level in are things that she levels in. Heavy armor, one-handed, archery, and block. My goals are to become the ultimate companion, help out every NPC in Whiterun, become a Thane, and eventually carry the burdens of all of Skyrim by saving it from the dragons. Although we are clearly the housecarl of the great Jarl Balgruuf, Ricky doesn't care and orders us to be killed anyway. I make my way out the usual way. Somehow Sneak gets leveled while my hands are bound. I go out with Hadvar and unleash some hardcore WWE moves on any Stormcloaks that I encounter. Also, I get a strange glimpse of a dragon who clearly knows the shout "Become Bethesda" and manages to phase in and out of existence. The first order of business will be getting Lydia's sword, the Steel Sword. At level 2 there is a chance of it appearing in chests and on enemies, but there are a few places it always shows up. We grab a steel shield outside of Alvor's place, somehow level destruction by standing in the fire, not sure how that works. I make my way in, wait for everyone to stop talking, and grab the steel sword he has above his fireplace. He doesn't need it, he can make more whenever he wants. With the weapon and shield we'll be using for the rest of the game, I make my way to Whiterun and try to acquire Lydia's armor from some local shops. Ayla tells us we should join the companions, which sounds like a good idea since I'm the ultimate companion of all of Skyrim. We do a little smithing for the experience and money, and because Adrian is one of the NPCs, we have sworn to help. Turns out she has a lot of the gear we need, but not at a price we can afford, so we need a job. We go and talk with the companions, take a look at their dancing Daedra beat up Vilcus as a little bit of a treat, and run some basic errands, since we're sworn to carry everyone's burdens. Skjor gives us the best quest imaginable in the game, the opportunity to go beat up Nazim without any consequences. The only downside is that this fight doesn't last very long, but we make a little money and head back to the companions. Off we go to retrieve some fragments of a weapon. I sell everything I can to Bellathor but still can't afford any armor, so off we go to deal with some Silverhands. Here's another location where you can find a steel sword for free, just in case anyone was wondering. Luckily, being Farkas' companion is a great time. We get to chopping up everyone in our path, and it goes quite well even without armor. Unfortunately, we get trapped and Farkas goes beast mode to save us, and we find the Silverhands we've been looking for. Not sure why I haven't noticed this in the past, but Silverhands are well funded. While most bandits or Draugr give you a few gold here and there, most of the Silverhands in this area gave me anywhere from 30 to 50 gold, so we might be able to afford this armor sooner than I thought. We grab the fragment and do a couple waves of Dungeon Defender before making our way home. I netted over 1400 gold in this area alone, so I'm feeling pretty good about my decisions. I managed to pick up the steel armor and the steel Nordic gauntlets I needed, but they didn't have the right steel cuffed boots, so I'll have to keep looking for those. Farkas tells the rest of the companions that we are fit to carry burdens, and we get our first mission as a certified companion. Off to a nearby camp to relieve a bandit of his life. With a little armor, this area goes a lot better, since I can actually take a few hits now. Apparently one bandit camp is enough to earn the ultimate trust of Skjor and Ayla, and they invite us into their super secret club. We drink some blood and go beast mode. I wait an hour to end it, and wake up near a camp of Silverhands, ready to earn more gold. I mean, kill the Silverhands. Chopping through them isn't too bad as Lydia, and we're doing this early enough that they aren't high level, so we're pretty equal at this point. We find the Skinner, who got Skjor. He clearly forgot rule number 1 of preschool, never leave your buddy. Ayla swears revenge, and we're more than happy to go raid more Silverhand camps for money, I mean justice. I run into some vigilants of Stendar, who tell me how they hunt werewolves and other such creatures. Turned out they just killed a wolf, but hey, at least they got the right idea. I find the Silverhand camp, Sneak inside like Ayla asked by killing literally everyone until there aren't any witnesses, and grab their plans. Off to kill a few more of them on a little fortress they have, which goes well considering we can just bottleneck them and fight them one by one. I grab the fragment they had and head back to Whiterun. An old lady tells us her son is missing, so we swear to help her as well. Danica tells us her tree is dying and we're sworn to carry her burden as well, I guess. Kolek asks to speak to us. He tells us he's terrified of this vibrating pie next to him and has been paralyzed with fear all day, unable to move. Since the place is clearly haunted, we go off to kill some witches for him, which will hopefully help. I encounter an orc camp, decide to use it to level up my one-handed a bit, and stumble upon a vault which has a shard in it, but not for the weapon we've been working on. On our way out, a man who has apparently snuck inside asks us to hide something for him. Why he came all the way out here for that is beyond me. A few more bandit camps along the way for the levels and loot. Still feeling relatively strong at this point, so I may as well profit while I can. I make my way to the witches. I tried using one to level up my block, but without using restoration spells, this is generally a bad idea. I decided since this was a burden for old Coldlack, we better kill all the witches inside. Plus they take like 80 hits from the steel sword each, and are incredibly easy to dodge, which makes for some good leveling. We get back home and someone had the nerve to kill the Silver Hands for their money without me. Also they killed Coldlack. Off we go with Vilcus to enact some revenge, and definitely not because it's very lucrative for me. After wiping them all out, we grab what we need and head back home. I thought we were late to the funeral, but apparently the guy hosting it was late too, so we're fine. We have an underground meeting. Yorlin brings in the wrong weapon, but switches it after I noticed. We get to the burial chamber. One by one, the companions find ways to not help us because they're angry or afraid of spiders, but Ayla stays with us. After killing what feels like 50 ghosts, we find Coldlack. He still has a burden we were sworn to carry, so we help out by killing a spirit dog so he can be free. We killed my own spirit dog too at this point since we can't afford to use it for this run, and I never liked the werewolf stuff in this game much anyway. We get dubbed the leader of the companions, completing a goal for Lydia that she had always dreamed of. Alright, we need to go grab a rock for Fartengar, so off we go to the most well-known dungeon of Skyrim. You know how this goes, nothing too special happened. We did help out this fine citizen though, although he didn't seem particularly grateful. We grabbed the magic words. The Draugr knocked our only weapon out of our hands. We killed him for that, grabbed the stone, and made our way back to Whiterun. Turns out a dragon is nearby, and this soldier ran Faust, never ran Foster in his life. Fighting a dragon sounds like a good time, but our real priority is buying a new home in Whiterun. All the gold we got killing the Silverhands finally came in handy, but for now our home will have to wait. We've sworn to help the people of Whiterun against the dragon. This fight ends up being really easy. I just sprinted towards him and spammed attacks until he died. Back at Whiterun, some men needed help, so we stopped to see what they needed. We'll help them later when we can. Carlotta tells us the local bard has been rolling a nat 1 on his seduction and asked us to go talk to him. Isolde, I think that's how you say that, tells us she wants to start a shop but needs a mammoth tusk, so we tell her we'll find one for her. Amrin tells us he's looking for his family sword, so we tell him we'll help him with that as well. We stop to give a child a coin and she tells us she doesn't have a home. Lucky for her we have one, so we go talk to get her a room built so she can come live with us. We purchase the new room and make sure the place is going to look nice and fancy as well. The Jarl gives us the title of Thane, which is an honor. Guards will look the other way if you let them know who you are. We find Lydia and have her come along, although who can say which one of us is serving the other. A little kid is getting bullied and won't do anything about it. Some kids are playing tag, so I join them, not realizing I don't know how to end the game of tag, which is fairly accurate to real life when you play tag with kids. We threaten this child so she'll stop bullying the other kid, and grab a sword from Adrian to deliver about 100 yards away, which is apparently a trip she cannot make herself, but we are sworn to carry her burden, so I guess we'll have to do it. A local drunk tells us that he isn't as drunk as he wants to be. So I tried to buy him some alcohol, but you have to steal the good stuff he's looking for, because we all know drunks are picky drinkers. We find the woman the Alakir were looking for while we're stealing the alcohol, so we go talk to her and she lets us know that she's burdened with a secret. So you can guess what we're going to do. Mikhail is inside singing a song, we serve him a restraining order, so he stops harassing Carlotta. Uthgard wants nothing more than to fight anyone walking within 10 feet of her, so we oblige and spend about 40 seconds just smacking each other, earning her respect as well. We tell Carlotta she's in the clear and deliver the sword for Adrian to her condescending dad. Speaking of condescending, we talk to Fartengar, who tells us to deliver some salt for him, and Arcadia gives us a bunch of potions for our troubles. Off to grab Amrin's family sword for him. It's nearby, he was just too afraid to go grab it himself, so the burden falls on us. After grabbing it, we return to Amrin, who actually gives us something useful, a level in one-handed and in blocking. Off I go to find a mammoth tusk. I thought about looking up where I could find one or just looking around, but then I realized in my infinite wisdom that mammoths will probably have a mammoth tusk on them. I tried to stealth kill one, which worked perfectly for about 15 seconds of the fight. Turns out mammoths and giants hit pretty hard, so I ran around in circles shooting the mammoth when I could, trying not to get sent to Starfield by one of the giants. After grabbing the tusk, I returned to Ysolda, who's leveled up our speech a bit and told us she's going to start up her shop. Over to the Hall of the Dead, where a poor old priest is pretty sure he heard some bones creaking, and they weren't his this time. So we go downstairs to grab his amulet, kill a couple of skeletons, he gives us 15 gold for our trouble. I would complain, but we don't really need any more money for this run. Off to the prison to talk with the Alakir about their leader. We pay off his fine and head out to negotiate with his leader. We mow through the bandits with relative ease and get ready to talk to the assassin. We speak to him with the only words an assassin will understand, the ones that come at the end of a blade. Picking a fight with all of them here is probably not the best idea, but we end up killing them all, and Lydia has short-term memory loss when we exit the cave.
Wonder what's inside.
Sadia gives us 500 gold for our troubles, and about everyone in town seems to love us now. On our way out, we encounter Lucia, who we give the good news to. She can go live in our new home.
Do you have a place I could live? Oh, wow. Yay! Thanks, Mama. I promise I'll be the best daughter ever.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Anyway, time to go help fix a tree. We encounter a hagraven who shoots mini nukes from her hands apparently, because we get almost obliterated. But we manage to grab the nettlebane we need to gather some tree sap, as well as a funny looking object. Unfortunately, we are now sworn to carry Meridia's beacon, so we'll need to get that done as well. For now though, we found an underground spring with the tree we need to grab the sap from, and extract what I need. Groot's whole family is apparently not very happy about this, so we fight as many of them as we need to, and try not to die to status effects. I land some nasty shots, and we make our way to Whiterun. The tree is fixed, and even more of Whiterun loves us. We are truly becoming the ultimate companion. Off to get the voices out of my head, I put Meridia's beacon back in its place, and get to fly into the sky for no discernible reason. I won't bore you with the details, but basically shoot the light through the open doors, killing Slim Shadies whenever you get the chance. They aren't too bad to deal with, but the wizard at the end has a master level destruction spell that basically one-shots me whenever I'm in the room. However, where others may get discouraged, my brain is too smooth to understand how hopeless a cause is. So we keep trying until we get lucky and kill him, only to find out he now has a shade to kill as well. After killing the shade, I went to grab Dawnbreaker, which actually just ends the combat and sends you back, which is pretty convenient. I'm not going to use Dawnbreaker, but I decided to give it to Lydia since she usually just has to carry things for everyone else without ever getting to use them, so I felt like this was a nice treat for her. Turns out I still haven't helped that old lady, so we go back to talk to her and her son, who are convinced the battling clan knows where her other son is. We sneak in, which involves just waiting for them to turn their back, and then picking the lock. Turns out they do know where their son is, so we head back out and tell them. His brother offers to help, but I can carry the burden without him, so we head out ourselves to see if we can resolve this peacefully. I tried for about 10 seconds to resolve it peacefully, but I realized this was a chance to kill some Thalmor, and who's going to pass up on that opportunity? They aren't too bad in here, and I find her son chained up to the wall. Upon freeing him, we discuss his options and decide it's better he doesn't head home to Whiterun. So he leaves and tells us to stop by and let his mom know he's okay. So we do exactly that, and she thanks us for our help. At this point, I have carried all the burdens I could find in Whiterun, and have become the ultimate companion I set out to be. But one burden still remains. The giant lizard guy is still terrorizing Skyrim, and I can't rest until he's gone. One of these times I'm going to count these steps, but I'm positive there aren't 7,000 of them. Someone has been exaggerating. Compensating for anything, Greybeards? With the power of 2 Lydias, even the Frost Troll falls, and we find High Hrothgar. Blah 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 shouts, blah 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 run fast through the gate, you know how it goes. Go retrieve a horn, everyone is surprised when it's not there. Chop up some cultists when I get back. Well, a kid tries to play tag with us. Seriously, I don't know how to stop playing tag. Talk to Delphine, the slower of all things progress. Go whack a dragon with her, and get ready to party. Now, I was basically just going through this part as fast as I could, but I made a crucial mistake. I thought I was giving my items to Malborn. Turns out I just unequipped them and gave him nothing, so that's about to suck. Off to the party. We speedrun this as usual. I got to the chest and it was empty. I thought maybe it was glitched and I got there too soon, but I went back and checked my recording. To my horror, there was no way I was going to get the items back, and my last save was over 30 minutes ago, so that's not going to work. Lucky for us, after dying, the other Lydia was waiting outside for us, and still had her steel sword from earlier since she was using the Dawnbreaker now. So I might not have any armor, but at least I have a weapon I could use. After chopping up everyone, I saved the prisoner, learned of Esbern, killed Malborn for being generally annoying and getting fingered as a spy, and left to talk with Delphine again. Went out, fetched Esbern for a little quest, talked with them all about a wall, killed a dragon with their help, found the wall, waited while Esbern talked, went to sit through the Greybeards blathering on about wind or whatever, went up the mountain to talk to Parthenox, grabbed a Rubik's Cube from a crazy guy, sprinted past as many Dwemer as humanly possible, grabbed an Elder Scroll, and went back up the mountain to read it. Well, that was a fast synopsis. For the first time since owning this game on PC, Alduin managed to land during this scene. I was truly blown away. Speaking of being blown away, a viewer let me know that you can clear the meteor attack with clear skies, so thank you for that. Honestly, this was not the worst fight I've had against Alduin. I managed after a bit to get him locked into only swinging with one of his wings instead of using his tail or his mouth, and then just spammed sprint attacks until he gave up. Off to trap a dragon. After going and meeting with everyone and promising them peace so I could go kill a dragon, we went to High Hrothgar to begin the hardest part of the game, sitting through the Peace Council. I made a fatal mistake during this run. I backed out of the conversation after I answered a question for Tullius, and ended up having to start from the beginning. In my desperation, I looked for an easier way to do this. Turns out if you're on PC like me, you can hit Control Print Screen and it will speed up the game. It's not a console command, I'm actually not sure why it exists, but it does. Funnily enough, they still speak at the same speed, so they end up talking over themselves basically the whole time, which makes for some strange sounding conversations. But at this point I don't care, at least it cuts the council time in half. We grabbed a dragon and rode him off to Skuldafn, saying goodbye to our twin, and preparing to carry our final burden. Some running, a few puzzles, a sprint past the dragon priest, and we were in Sovngarde. The fight against Soon was fine. I managed to do it without cheesing, which was pretty unheard of for me. I went in and talked with the blue-eyed peas and got ready for the final battle. I tricked Soon into the battle and we all teamed up and defeated Alduin without too much trouble. With the dragon slain, we had proved once and for all that Skyrim's true companion could actually carry out all of our burdens.
It's everything I could have hoped for.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and my other videos, subscribing would mean a lot to me. Also feel free to let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas for runs. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.